I'm working on the same source generator I was working on, I think, last week. I don't remember if I published the video or not yet, but working on the same source generation stuff that I was working on last week. Still probably need to define the README a little bit better, but the long and the short, I'm just trying to create a default attribute, or sorry, a default property for a reference object so that I don't have to use the default keyword. Um, a friend of mine brought up that there's an issue with static references can that are mutable, and cautioned me not to run into that trap. But I think that I'm going to push that onto the user, i.e., if I provide you a static default and you have the wherewithal to go and change it, then it's kind of user error because you should want your default value to be immutable if possible. Now, I get it if you're using it for a reference object and that reference object has state. Um, Maybe we get into having to generate some equality. But at the moment, really all I want this to do is go from this thing to this thing. And I want to be able to have basically public, static, thing. Oh no. Default equals new thing. That's more or less what I want when all this is said and done. And I've got some tests, as you can see down here. I always got my tests. But I got some tests down here that are currently blowing up using verify, and it's telling me because this thing should have a default for one of the properties. Because I believe in this example, in the code for this example, my IntelliSense is still not, or sorry, my key bindings are still not working correctly. So trying to navigate to source objects is still somewhat aggravating, but we'll figure it out from there. Oh no, oh no! This Flash Aware is in here, and he's excited to watch me fail at this source generation thing today. So I think we're gonna have some fun because I have somebody that actually understands this stuff that can heckle me. So um, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and pop this into either Roslyn Quoter or SharpLab. But what I really want to be able to do here is I want to say for this thing, let's say we have some public, I don't know, int. Well, that's live coding for you. Public int value, just because. And let's just say that it is mutable. Private field should be private. What? It's public. What do you mean it should be private? All right, element should be documented. Okay, that's fine. So now my expectation is that if this thing, let me see if I can generate initialize property from constructor, probably remove that just for the sake of it. And let's give that an expression body. So now my expectation is that this actually generates a default for value type. yeah, yeah, we all fail and learn. Source generators are, man, I thought I was smart, and then I started looking at Roslyn, and I realized that I'm not as smart as I thought I was. I'm like, oh, this is great, like compiler as a service. And then I realized like what you can do and what Roslyn allows you to do, and how Roslyn looks at a C# file, and I'm like, oh, I have to change my brain completely from uh, business requirements to thinking like a machine, and parsing a document and what that looks like. So this is more or less what I think that I want. So I'm gonna just legitimately copy and paste this into the good old web browser over here on the other screen that you guys can't see. Okay, so that tells me that, oh, this is snazzy. So the question becomes, how do I get to, okay, so as I'm generating this source, I either have to get to the constructor of the thing, or I have to find the property. Well, no, because I still need the constructor in order to be able to use it. So how do I get access to that constructor? Let's see. Because this here is, okay, so it's object creation expression. Okay, so that'd be an object creation expression to create that object, which I think I already have working. Pretty sure. Let me go look at my tests real quick so that I can verify. Verify, which is the library that I'm using to do my generation. But I want to verify that I'm actually getting, okay, so I am at minimum already constructing a thing, but now I need to see, okay, so based upon, okay, so I don't know if I can do this with just the rosin pieces, or if I have to do it with, or sorry, the rosin pieces. If I can do it with just the compilation, or if I have to do it with more than that. But I do have another source generator. I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna pull up some other code that I wrote for some other thing, and I'm gonna use it to remind myself how I do this thing. Okay, okay, I see. So that's how all that's happening. Um, all right, so basically, I'm just creating all that stuff. Okay, so all right, the hard part. Let me go back to where my generator is defined. Okay, here we go. So I've got, none of that matters for the moment. I've got a whole bunch of, yeah, I got a whole bunch of methods over here that probably are way too much for the fun of this. All right, so I'm getting the class. I'm generating. Okay, so here we go. Here's the original definition. So I've got the generator, the attribute data. So let me just put a breakpoint here. I'm going to debug a unit test to get me closer to understanding where I left this code off the last time I tried to make magic happen. You can do it. All right, all right, all right, all right. So the default attribute is here. Okay, but that's just the attribute. And then, oh, derp, because that's all that method is doing. There we go. Let's get to, here we go. So here's we're generating the partial class with the property. So here's the property name. So this is where I'm going to be returning probably, yep. Okay, so the property name is default. So here's where I am constructing the thing. And that's a member declaration syntax. So I'm declaring the member. There should be object creation expression. Okay. So this object creation expression, I think I'm going to pull out into another, yeah, I think I'm going to pull this object creation out into another method, as if I don't have enough like ridiculous methods already. So I'm going to go look at somebody who, like, I've seen a couple of people that are really good at source generation. And when I say really good, I mean they organize the code very well. Up to this point, all my source generation is just like, I've got a whole bunch of methods. Doesn't matter. Because I'm not really concerning myself with clean code. I'm just trying to get it done, and then I'll figure out how to make it pretty after I actually get it working. And I'm going to do another local function. You can't see my context menu, so if I get this wrong, object creation expression. Build object creation expression. There we go. All right, so that builds the object creation expression. It's going to take in a class name and an argument list. Is that what we want? I think that is. Oh, maybe this actually. We'll figure that out in a minute, because I think what's going to end up happening here. Can I get to that part? I can't. Okay. So what's going to. Yep, and my key binding doesn't work. So here's my new method down here. Let me chop it so I can see everything. All right, so let me see. It's not going to let me have that. All right, so Here I should have the class name. So let me just verify again where I am. Is my... Don't tell me that's not working now either. I can't set a breakpoint. This seems like a problem, but this is okay. This is okay. It is a proper local function. It's inside the constructor, right? Yep. All right. So why, oh why can I not set a breakpoint? It's probably because, yeah, it's the... Okay, I'm likely gonna have to uninstall and reinstall Rider sometime soon, because clearly I can't get these things to work. Oh, no, that's not what we want to do at all. We just want to debug the unit test, verify that, okay, we have the class name, so we'll have to figure out how to generate this. I think this argument syntax. Yeah, right. Because the argument syntax that we're going to have... Yeah, okay. This... Okay, it's not going to give me access to the class name, nor is it going to give me access to the... This is interesting. Okay, let's try that. Still not. Alright, that's fine. So here I have the class name, which is thing, which is fine, and the argument list, which is empty. Where does that argument list come from? Predictive debugger. It's probably smarter than I am about it. So argument list. Ooh, where are we? Argument list syntax. Where am I getting this from? This is where it's... Okay, so I am getting it from here. This is like method chaining is already going to start driving me crazy. But it's primarily because I don't have my key binding, because normally I could just walk the tree with key bindings, and today I can't do that. Okay, so I would have to... Okay, so... Okay. Here's where the argument list goes in, I think. Yeah. Okay, so here's where I need to generate an argument list. So here's going to be var constructor arguments is going to equal argument list syntax. Is that what that is? Yeah, it's an argument list syntax. Okay, so argument list syntax should do it. Isn't that how it works? No? What did I do with the null thing? So at a certain point, it's null. Oh, it's just argument list. It doesn't... That's right. When you're using the factory bits, they drop the syntax. Okay, so this is where I'm going to have constructor arguments, and it's either going to be null or I'm going to have constructor arguments. So I have to find a way to extract method, local function, take it all, and I want this to be build constructor arguments. Yeah, okay. And that's likely going to take in some information here shortly. So we're likely going to need to do this. We're going to need the property information. So I don't know what that's going to look like, but I think we're going to need we're definitely going to need the property. We're going to need all the properties, right? So like, okay, so if I have a thing with multiple properties, I think what I want is the property information, and we're going to do some nested jazz here. I want the property information for read-only properties only, so things that have... What does that mean? I think that means like anything that uses a lambda, or anything that is a get only, because I don't want to deal with mutability right now. So I can either do it from having the property information, or I can go find the constructor. Wow, this is fun. the constructor. But if I have multiple constructors, right? So if I have multiple constructors, I have to choose the one that I think I have the best fit for. Hmm. Okay, so now if we're talking about defaults, we're talking about value types versus reference types. This is where everything's going to start getting weird, and I need to start being smart about this. Um, so the way this can work, and I've seen like a library Mapperly do something similar to what I think I'm trying to do. So I'm probably going to go look at that code and steal some concepts around it. But the 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 concept of this is going to be difficult, right? Because like let's say I have a reference type. So okay, going back to my thing example, ooh, element should be documented. I'm just gonna. Can I just comment this out? Yeah, no, I don't want to generate the documentation. Yeah, here we go. And let's do this for the class. Suppress message. This is just a sandbox. All right. Partial element should be documented, so we're going to do that one too? Okay. We'll just disable all the things for all the class, right? What? Why did you just not let me? Pragma for disable for class justification. This is a sandbox. All right, so yeah, yep, I know that the value is never used. Okay, so this works fine if I have a thing that's all value types. So I'm actually going to change this real quick, and I'm just call this value type thing so that I can do a proper reference type thing. And I think I'm going to dump all these in a directory, and I'm going to call this things because why not? Let's have some fun with thing one and thing two. All right, so I've got value type things, and I'm gonna have like a reference type things thing. Yep, this is gonna be partial. All right, so to try and rationalize what I'm going for is this, right? Let's say I have this reference type things like reference type one thing, and then we'll do a reference like a no, let's not do one. Let's just keep it simple for now. So I have a reference type thing and a reference thing. Reference. It's not really a subtype. If it's a reference thing, it's a sub reference. Nested. There we go. Nested reference type thing. That'll work. Okay. So if I have a reference type thing and I want to do like a public nested reference type thing, thing one, right? So now this will technically, yeah, so yeah, let's initialize the property from constructor so we actually have it, right? So this is the thing. If this has my reference default on it, now I'm at the point where if I check for a given, if I look for a property on it that's a reference type, I have to expect that the type of this type has reference default on it all the way, and this has to turtle all the way down. So this is where I'm like, I don't like every time I write a source generator, I end up writing analysis for it because there's always a case where if you don't do something, the thing won't work correctly, and all of your source generation will just fall over and fail. Um, so no, I don't want to move the type. Let's just. Oh, I'm just gonna disable everything. Justification is going to be sandbox for the moment. All right, so the the concern that I have here is how to do this, and oh, uh, Shahab Ganji is now here, and he's gonna also tell me how wonderful I am at doing all of this stuff. Um, so what I find is that for me, source generation is really a lot of thinking through my problem before I just go off and generate source. Like more so than writing code, right? Like I can go off and just start hacking away at some code, but if I don't think about the way I'm gonna generate the source, it's like 10 times worse. It's kind of like the garbage in, garbage out principle. Like if you don't put something good into the source generator is just going to fall over. So I can do one of two things. I can do some analysis that tells you you don't have it there, or I can generate it for you on all of the nested types through conversation with both of the gents that are on the stream right now. I think I've actually kind of determined that generating it is just the path of least resistance. Um, in a perfect world, and I still don't know how to do like configuration in source generators, but if I can ever get to the point where I do configuration in source generators, I'd like that to be like a configuration option where you like set some reference default, like defaults or whatever, and you can say, oh, opt in or opt out of analysis versus generate. I think analysis is probably just easier at the moment, and I don't think I'm actually going to try and solve that problem. I think right now I'm just going to do my best with the time that I have left to just generate this one property for this reference type thing. Um, so how do we solve this? How do we solve this? Okay. I think I have to find a way to get the property. And I think the only way that I know to get the property is if I go back to my generator, pin that tab. If I go back to my generator, um, yeah, if I go back to my generator, I would expect there to be something that I've already done if I'm smart. Yeah, okay, so I have this too. So I don't think I can just get what I need from the syntax, uh, from the generator syntax context. I think I actually have to go against the compilation to get the individual thing that I need. And I think that's the thing that I'm actually about to Google is how do I get. I did some looking at this, but I never came up with a good answer on how to get a classes constructor in Roslyn, right? Because like that's what I want. Is I want to say, yeah, this is going to tell me to do a name all parameter. I'm pretty sure I've solved this before though. Let's go be smart about this. Let's go see how I've solved this because I know that I've done something like this before. Yep, with a fixture name. Let's the yeah, here we go. In this class, I've done it before. Oop, oop, oop. There we go. Me fat fingering stuff. Oh, and my keyboarding still don't work. Like, this like so this feels like writing software with one hand tied behind my back and two broken fingers. Like every time I hit Option B, or I think it's F12 is the Visual Studio key binding, like it doesn't go anywhere, and I'm just sitting there looking at it, waiting for it to do something. It's like, ugh. So now I gotta either use the structure or another avenue to try and find the thing. So the global statement, private keyword, object creation with the argument list. How am I doing that? That's the question. Is where? Oh, okay. I see exactly what I'm doing. I get a set of parameter symbols. Ooh, this is weird. I don't know if this is the right way to do it, but we're gonna try it. Okay, so where do I get these? Oh, okay, okay, yep, yeah, okay. So I can go against the name type symbol and get it. All right, so then let's go ahead and start being smart. Here, I'm going to go and grab the constructor. So let's go grab the constructor. Var. And we're only going to support a single constructor for right now because incremental is best, in my opinion, with source generating. Haha, incremental generator, right? Um, Only because if you try and eat the whole elephant, like you'll fail miserably because it's just so much. It actually reminds me a lot of writing like MIPS code back in the day when you had to write assembly code. Like it's more detailed than writing regular code, but the payoff is there. All right, so where do I get that name symbol? So the name symbol, okay, goes in from the current generator. Where do I get that? Or how do I get that name symbol? Let's go find that name symbol. Okay, is the syntax. Okay, so it's just okay. So we'll just make it simple. Syntax dot target symbol, And let's go verify. So that should be, when all this is said and done. Oh, wow, that's not what I wanted it to do. This should be it should be the class that the attribute is affixed to. So I should be able to see, this should be thing when I go and do some debugging now. So let me kill that debugger session, and I'm just going to continue to dig through with accessible constructor. Here we go. So let's debug. Oh, yeah, okay. It's because I'm smart and do smart things. Yes, yes. Oh, for a small guy, I have extremely fat fingers. It's amazing. Okay. Let's do that. Let's do a debug on that. Ooh, go for the semantic model rather than the syntax API because C# 14 may become partial constructors. Oh no. Oh, so you're telling me that I like so, but okay. So, um, okay. So on the topic of the semantic model, and this is where it's like I always jump into source generators thinking that I know what's good for me, and eventually I realize that I don't. Um, my understanding is that going against the semantic model is less performant, and you should only go against the semantic model when you absolutely have to. But like I've never seen any official information directly uh, from the Roslyn team that says one way or the other what it should be. Okay, so this is thing, and this is okay. So that's the actual, and then I can get constructors, and it has two constructors. It's gonna have a constructor. It's gonna have a, and then this constructor should have one of them should have arguments, right? So so I definitely want to do things in a fail forward manner, but I honestly don't know sometimes when I'm writing something that's just not going to be performant versus something that's going to be more performant is because I don't really know, like I don't know what recommendation is right in which directions. Case in point, a buddy of mine wrote some source generators, and then somebody from the Roslyn team got to look at him and was like, "Oh, you're doing this all wrong," and it's just like, well, where's the documentation that tells me that before I go write it incorrectly, right? Like, just teach me how to Dougie, right? Like, show me the thing, show me how I'm supposed to do it correctly, and I'll do it as correctly as I possibly can. So I feel like a lot of us are out here just kind of generating source in a non-performant way and not even realizing it because we don't have that insider information from working on it every day. Okay, so all right, so let me pull this back up. Oh no, we're gonna use the magnet. All right, so this is just the target symbol, and then when I go in the current generator, I get the name symbol. So, ooh, okay, that's how I'm doing it in this one. So I'll do it the same way because why break something or fix something that isn't broken. I apologize for scrolling so fast through my wonderfully organized code. Where was I just looking at that? Okay, so here's the constructor. So first thing that I'm going to do actually introduce a variable, and instead of getting the target type symbol, I'm going to get all constructor parameters, right? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select out of the target symbol. I'm going to constructor. Come on, you can do it. Oh, oh, what type? It's just an I symbol. I need this to be a named symbol. What am I missing then? What is my brain not realizing? Oh, okay, okay, okay. There we go again. I'm gonna reinstall Rider after this. this. I really am. Okay, so I can just. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so how I've done this in the past is this way, and this is gonna get kind of weird. So I'm just gonna cast it to a type symbol. Yep, yep. I'm explicitly creating a nullability problem. I already know. Don't tell me. Uh, and okay. Okay. So at the moment, I'm gonna have to expect it to be that way. So I'm gonna have to do dot attribute. Does that not work? That's just getting the class name. Okay, so I should be able to just do this as a name symbol for the moment, and then from there, I should be able to get the constructors, and then I should be able to do select on the constructor to get. Are there arguments there? Where are the arguments? Type arguments. I think that's it. Let me just do a dot to list, and we're gonna see how this goes from here. We're gonna see how this goes because this could go really, really good, and it could go really, really bad. Let's just find a unit test to debug. I should probably grab one specifically for this problem. If I don't have one already, I'm gonna go set one up in a second. Okay, so all the constructor parameters. I've got the constructor parameters. It's length 0. Oh no, yeah, it is length 0, but it has one in it, so that's weird. I collection. So what's the item in here? Result. Okay, so it is an empty enumeration. Okay, so then what did I do wrong? Let's do this. Let's stop this. Let me make sure I have an actual unit test specifically to cover exactly what I'm trying to do right now. Because that would not be cool. Okay, so that's the attribute being generated. We are verifying. So it's a primitive. What data do we have? Accessible constructor, primitive property, reference type. I don't think this is going to be a primitive though. Yeah, okay, so we don't have anything set up for this. I guess this is good enough. I guess this is good enough. So even though we, oh wait, we have the primitive already set up. Okay, so then this isn't good enough. Simple reference type. Let's do a class reference property reference type. Data. Yeah, let's just do that. No need to be overly verbose. Then I'll grab all this and I'll just copy this and I'll paste this here. We're not going to support object initialization for now on references because that's too much. Do we want a thing in a thing? I think we want stuff in a thing. So let's do stuff. And this is going to be stuff. And we'll have to have a public class of stuff. Alright, so we've got stuff, stuff1, stuff is getting passed in, stuff is a reference type. We've got our defaults. Technically just want it that way, but I'll leave it there for now because it's probably easier for the test. So that means we can get rid of this completely. We can do this. So for those watching, if you haven't, I can't even go into it, but and my sub menus don't come up. But a friend of mine who's really good with Roslyn, I was having a conversation with them and I was explaining like I don't get source generation. I don't understand how any of this works. I need some type of something that just makes it so that I can test it without having to think too hard. Because like setting up all the verify stuff, setting all everything up was somewhat difficult for me. And with like I like tests anyway, so with Roslyn, and source generation, with analysis, it works better in my brain to have tests set up from the beginning because trying to do it in a live environment is very cumbersome for me. So I was very much of the camp of, hey, give me something that makes it easy for me to test. And he created this whole generator test context concept where I can build a, oh gosh, here we go. Back to me not being able to use my IDE correctly. Um, so it basically just has a test generator context builder, and it allows me to do all the things like include a specific generator, not include a specific generator, ignore certain things, not generate certain source. And what that allows me to do, pardon me, what that allows me to do is really easily focus on just the generator as opposed to dealing with any of the other stuff that I don't understand. So at this point, if I rerun, if I rebuild, I should have one that's not it's not picked up. So that has helped me with source generation because like getting to the point of trying to spin up tests was always just cumbersome to me. Did I just get rid of all my unit tests? No, I didn't. Here we go. Those two are failing. Given a reference type, generate default property. So if I run all the tests, it's gonna should bring up two new failing tests. Yep, here we go. So this one is probably, let's compare it. Yeah, okay, so this has got to be the new one. So let's go ahead and create a new session just for that test. Okay, so this will make life a little bit easier for iterating over it because we have a test that we know is failing. I'm going to get rid of all the verify stuff for the moment because that's not actually what we want. Ooh, it's going to be like the hat in the hat scenario. This is going to be fun. Okay, so my expectation of what this is going to look like is going to be thing is going to have a constructor here for the default with stuff, and it's going to use default or stuff.default as well. But I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know how we're going to get that done. Let's go. Okay, here's our generator. So now I'm going to debug this, and I'm going to look at this piece. Ooh, I might actually want to just, yeah. Okay, so the target symbol is thing, but yeah, so I think what I need to do real quick before I do that is I need to introduce a variable and call, no, not constructors. I don't want constructors. I just want that. I want this to be the named type symbol. A variable cannot be declared. Statement should be unnecessary. Oh, okay, generated. Even though I know that's not what it is right now, I'm just going to call it that to make my life easier so I can actually put a breakpoint here and look at what I'm missing. Of course, now my unit test is gone, so I need to rebuild. Hopefully my session will pick it back up. Oh, that's weird. Tests. Yeah, so I don't get much done without tests these days. Testing has kind of become the de facto way of doing things, and it's funny because long time ago I was not that guy at all, like at all. Um, let's create a new, and somebody showed me how to unit test, and I was like, oh, I don't need that. And man, I realized yes, I do. What? Remove redundant parentheses. That's what we're complaining about today. Okay. Um, yeah, I don't understand how people get like getting things done without tests is a scary thing. Yeah, so that's TypeScript. TypeScript world, yeah, tests as well. That's actually the only way I can write TypeScript is if I have tests because reasons. Um, so did my session with my test, my failing test went away? This is gonna get really really ugly if I can't just. Okay, there it is. It's back. Perfect. I think for me, it's the fact that I can iterate over the code faster with tests, and it just makes everything easier because I don't have to make sure that every single input and output is correct and every single assumption is correct. Right at that point, I can just say, okay, well, I have one constructor. I can just at that point, because I have a test, I can just fails. Okay, well let me try another thing. Oh, fails, and like if I've got 15 inputs for a given thing, I can test each one in isolation very very quickly, and it's repeatable, it's automatable, and I don't have to worry about a lot of other stuff. Yeah, that's gonna be fun. That happens every time. Okay, so this is getting me the name symbol. So if I take the name symbol and I just go get const yes, okay, right, question mark dot, and then instead of trying to get the type parameters, I just go get the constructors. I expect there to, oop, my expectation is that like it's gonna give me all the constructors, but now the question is which test is it actually running? Because maybe I'm not getting the right test, and maybe that's part of the problem. I should be able to see that though, right? So the reference property, it okay. So the class that I'm looking at, it has a. How about this? I'm gonna be the smart guy, and I'm gonna make this extremely easy on me. I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna copy it. I'm gonna paste it down here. Given. I'm just gonna call this test iterator. Iterating. All right. So now I just need to grab the theory. There we go. Grab the theory. And because I am now smarter than a fifth grader, I've got a test that should have a very specific name that should make all of this much easier for me to figure myself out. Nope, no, 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 no. That's all tests. I want all the tests. Did that not run? Well, that's weird that it didn't run that one. Okay. Now let's create a new session with that. Okay, so this iterator context. Okay, so now that I've got this, I know that this is my only input. So if I debug this, I should see a constructor with a parameter. And if I can get that constructor with that, because I guess the truth of the matter is I don't actually care about the properties themselves on the thing. The properties are somewhat irrelevant. I should only, yeah, here we go. Perfect. So here's my constructor. Here's my stuff. And my expectation is that I should be. Oh, you guys can't see the context menu. I've got to ask my friends at JetBrains how I show the context menu of the debug session without without having to share my entire screen. But anyway, let's go look at it over here. Where's this is going to be generated name type. So just looking at it, yeah, I can't get rid of that easy, but this shows me that I have a constructor, and that constructor has thing, and it's going to take in stuff. So now that I've got thing and it's going to take in stuff, um, I just want to use that constructor and pass or sorry, in my when I generate my argument syntax list, I want to take those parameters and I want to see if I can get the type. So I think I need to do. Okay, so all right, being smart again. So let's get rid of some of this. Actually, I'm going to leave all this comment stuff here, and we're going to talk about this just a little bit more, and I'm going to figure this out. So now that I've got the constructor. All right, so this is technically all constructors. I'm going to end up taking the first one. No, it's already an immutable array, so I don't need to list it. Okay, so I have the constructor. So now that I have the constructor, I need to build argument list with the default for the I need to build an argument list with the default for the reference type, if it exists. If it doesn't exist, reference type dot default doesn't exist. Generate it. Not sure if I should generate it, if I should do some diagnostic. I don't know what that's going to look like just yet, but I do know that I'm close to getting an argument list that should get me there. So I know that the source that I generate right now is not actually going to compile, but I'm going to get it generated anyway, and then I'll worry about later whether or not it compiles. One thing at a time. Don't. Okay, so the constructor arguments. No, this is okay. So let's do some cleaning up. That's actually the constructor. This is going to be the constructor parameters, and I want to do this. I want to say constructor dot first. Oh, is it? Do I not have access to link? What is it going to tell me? It's going to tell me it can't do that on an immutable array. Insert matching type arguments. Yeah, that's what I thought. Why is that even a thing? Maybe I do need to do a .toList. Okay, so that immediately gives... Yeah, so it's because it's an immutable array. All right, that's fine. So I'll have a method symbol, and that should be the constructor. No. Yeah, the constructor. First question mark dot parameters, right? So that's going to get me all the parameters. So let's go back to our test and verify that we are at least getting those parameters. Oh. And I'll be honest with you, like I sat in front of this today. I was like, I don't really want to work on this today. This is going to be annoying. But I'm like, I want to get this done. So, okay. So I've got the parameter. What is a parameter symbol, though? So a parameter symbol gives me all the information. Gives me the original definition, but it doesn't give me an instance. But if I have that, I can generate an argument. I can send in the parameters as arguments. No, I don't want it. I need it to. Okay, yeah, it's fine. Whatever. It can just be an immutable array when I bring it in. So now I have arguments. So when I go to build my constructor, it's going to be a constructor with arguments. With arguments. All right. So now this thing is going to return argument list. So I'm going to go back over here. And I'm going to go to my Sharp Lab. I've got my... How do I create... Okay, so I can just do an object creation. No, because that's what I've got. The argument list. And then the argument. So, okay, so it's just going to be... What is the... Because I don't have my decompiler. So, separated syntax list. Arguments. So how do I generate that then? So what do? I want to do, is this going to be a argument Oh, ooh, that's ugly. Let me be smart and let me look at how I've done this before. Again, let's not reinvent the wheel if we don't have to. Class for fixtures. So if I go up here and I see I've got the build operator. Okay, yeah, I can build fields. I don't want to build fields right now. I'm trying to build constructors. Build the build method. I send in the class name, which is a string, and the parameter symbols, which is a list of parameter symbols. That seems right. It's gonna concat that. So what this says, okay, so it takes in, it builds. Oh, I literally build an argument at a time. And I just send in an identifier name. And let's, for the moment, just call this. I'm gonna just generate this straight up. I'm gonna call this rocket.surgery.air. Come on, you can type airframe.defaults.stuff.default. It's technically what it's gonna be, but this is complaining and telling me that I'm not doing this right. So that gives me a list of stuff. So I have a list of stuff, which I know I'm gonna have, right? But I don't want to do any local function jazz. Oh, is that right? Is that really what's gonna happen here? I'm gonna take that list. I'm gonna remove the things. Oh, okay, I see. Separated list of argument syntax, and then I can put womp womp. Oh, I have to. Okay, I can use object collection there. Yes. Okay. Good. 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 So now, if I come back here, chop my line so I can look at my code. So this is what I expected. I know I'm hard coding this for now, but I'm just hard coding it for now to verify that this thing actually does what I expect it to do. Because at this point, I would expect myself to get an entire constructor with arguments. So let's stop the thing, debug some more. Yeah, so that Roslyn visualizer is going to be game changing. I'm excited about that as well. Uh, and I think that's the hard part, right? Like you see me looking over at the other screens. I got to go look at Rosalind Quoter and Sharp Lab and see what is it that I don't see, what is it that I'm not paying attention to, right? Versus, actually, you know what? I could have just run it and verified the source. No, I couldn't because I didn't add it. Okay, so the constructor, this worked, and this is just the argument list. No, this should be the. Oh, this is supposed to return an object creation bit that I can then. Oh no, it's not. I'm just supposed to send that in. Okay. So now, ha. So now I'm actually just gonna run my unit test and see what the verified source looks like and see how bad it is. Yep. Compare. Hey, look at that. It actually did the stuff with the thing. Okay. So far, what that means is that now I've got my partial class creating a public static default, and this needs stuff. I'm not sure if no, it should be fine. Let me go look at my data. This is a separate class, right? So I'm not losing my mind there, right? So this is the namespace is defaults. Stuff doesn't have a default. That's fine. We said it wasn't going to compile, but that's fine. That's fine. We'll just do this real quick. Public static stuff default get. Let's come on, you can do it. And yes, I know I could copy and paste it. I know I could, but I'm not gonna do it. Oh yes, the fat fingers. The fat fingers are doing the thing. Okay, so now if I regenerate this source, because this is going to be it's added to the compilation for the thing. So if I rerun this, if I run the unit test, this is actually really exciting. I thought this was going to be way more difficult, and then I realized because what I was thinking was I had to pay attention to all the properties on the thing, and then I realized I don't care. At first all I want to do is deal with objects that have constructors, and I'll worry about the property version later. And I'll between then and now I'm gonna have to figure out some way to do some type of strategy to know which source generator to actually use. But for the moment, I don't think I care about any of that. I legitimately just want to see the thing work. Now, this is still going to need a defaults attribute to generate that default, probably. I don't know, unless it already has it. Okay, now I'm telling you, Ryder is it's just throwing me for a loop today. Oh, this means that I broke something. It means this is likely not valid C sharp. Is this valid C sharp? Looks like valid C sharp to me. So I didn't screw that up. So let's go run all the tests again. Let's run all the tests. Yeah, because like that's kind of what SharpLab gives is that visualize the Roslyn tree as a visualization. Roslyn Quoter is a little bit more difficult to deal with, but I find that it's better when I'm actually trying to generate the source at helping me realize what source to generate. There we go. Okay, so comparing the thing, stuff.defaults. So what if I just do this? All right, my expectation is, okay, because I'm in rocket surgery, airframe defaults, stuff dot default. Is it okay, so now there's a question about whether or not I'm testing the thing correctly, if I'm using the test framework. I know that I'm adding it in because it's going into the same source here. But let me try this and let's just separate the source. Private const string stuff equals ooh, that's spicy. What just happened there? Ooh, gosh. There we go. And that's what it is. I need this. So that it knows that it's supposed to be C sharp. All right, perfect. So now if I hit the Alt, nope, still doesn't work, and I still have to manually do this. That's fine, though. I don't mind. Okay, so now stuff is a thing, and I want to add that, and I want to add stuff. So now it should be a separate file added to the compilation, and I don't know whether or not verify is supposed to show it to me the way I expect, but that's fine. So where did we, okay, so here I just want it to be stuff.default for the moment. Okay. And yes, I know this is a hard-coded value, and I know I'm going to have to come back and figure out how to properly pass this list of parameters and look for the defaults, but I think that's going to be a tomorrow problem. I'm not going to try and solve that today. I think the hardest part is going to be reminding myself, where did I leave off last time? Okay, so yeah, this is now passing in stuff.default into thing for the default parameters. This is going to kind of get weird because I have a feeling like there's going to be some odd coupling between certain things, and I'm sure somebody's going to run into like the usage of this. Oh, I've got this class in this assembly that I don't really have access to, but I want to generate the default. What do I do? I don't know what the answers to those things are. Okay, so this at least gets me to the point where I am explicitly passing in arguments to the constructor. So how would I get the property? Let's see this. Because we actually have that. Okay, so let me do this. Be smart. Hard-coded So that way I can come back to this and not like be mad at myself when I break it in a couple of minutes. Okay, so that's property name. That's all fine. So I need this to not be stuff, and instead I want to take this off of the. So if I put a breakpoint, okay, I guess I gotta put a breakpoint there, and I go back to my tests. I go to this one, and I debug my test. My expectation is that all constructor parameters. Well, there we go. Nope. That was not how I wanted things to work at all. Can I hit F9 there? I guess that doesn't work. So if I convert that, and now if I hit F9, okay, so then we're just going to leave it like that for now. So I can debug this thing and look at. All right, so in here I have a value. This value is a parameter. It's, okay, so the parameter will have a type, yep, which is stuff. From the type, I guess from the type, the question is that error named type symbol. What? Oh, non-error named type symbol. Okay, so from the type, I should be able to get any static. I don't want static constructors. I want static properties. Containing symbol, declared access, definitions. They're like a. Is there like a nice, pretty properties bit that I can jazz at? Doesn't seem like it. I don't see default anywhere in it. Not locations. Is definition. Containing type. No, 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 Constructors. Oh, this hurts my brain. Why isn't it not as simple as... So this is where it's like, okay, do I need to go to the compilation and get the instance of the type and do it? Because I don't want the constructor. I don't want constructed from. Okay, so if I have an error named type symbol, how do I get the static properties from non-error named type symbol in Roslyn? Now I don't want to get the type from a symbol. Get type by metadata name. Oh no. Okay. We're gonna see how this goes. So let's be smart. I think I've written some of this code, so I'm just gonna look at it real quick and no, that's just the parameter name. Okay, all that does is add the name, the parameter itself. It doesn't add with properties. With type or parameter. Did I write that? I did write that. So I should. Let me just write this. All right. So for each in all constructors, constructor parameter, and this thing is telling me that I should be able to do a var constructor. Oh, so var stuff equals constructor parameter. It's saying get type. Hold on, where's my? Okay, there it is. By metadata name, and that's supposed to be a method that I can use, and it's going to tell me, oh, we need to write the method. Yeah, okay. Didn't think I had access to that, so I don't know where it thinks that I'm supposed to get that from. Oh, from the compilation. See? Yeah, there we go. So it wants me to get the type information from there. So let's try this. Let's actually take this whole thing out of here real quick, and let's go up a level. And let's go look at where I have that defined. Because here's where I have the compilation. So here's where I would want to do that. Or I have to send in the compilation. So compilation dot, yep, there we go. And get type by metadata name. And then I'll do constructor bits. This says that it needs a string, so here we'll just do string.name, and we will put a breakpoint here and see what turns up. That's debugging, that's why. So go back to our tests, debug, and we should see some stuff. Stuff is null. Oh, we definitely don't want the... Okay, I'm smart. Okay, so then we would actually want to do the type.name. Okay. Right, because, see, and this is where it's like Roslyn is fun, right? Because it's like, oh, constructor parameter.name, and you get the name of the parameter that's being sent into the method, right? Because you don't think, oh, I need the type of the name, because the type is the thing before the actual named parameter. Ooh. Okay, now I have stuff from the compilation. Does this, oh, excuse me, member names, tuple, static constructors, type arguments, module symbols containing type, nope, 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 nope. Still doesn't give me what I think that I'm supposed to have. Okay, so yeah, this says that filter static properties. Use link. Okay, so it's telling me to do that and then use link on something that isn't linkable to filter out static properties. This is why I love the internet, because it's just like, I don't think you understand what it is that I'm trying to do, but I appreciate your effort working with types. That's somebody who's smart. Oh, here we go. Oh, okay, so maybe this thing takes, maybe there's, I don't know if there's multiple overloads, but I'm going to have to try it the old-fashioned way, because I can't just hover over the thing and find out the overload. So there isn't an overload. And I can't go to declaration. All right, so I don't see the name symbol. That's going to be the type symbol from the compilation. And then from here, stuff dot, not constructors, not containing namespace. There's no properties, no custom type argument, custom modifiers. How do I determine member names? Right, so let's go try that now. Let's see what we get. Oh, I can't spell either. It's awesome. Member names, default. Okay, so that is the member that I want, but I don't just want the names. I want to know get members. There we go. So I can use get members dot where x is static. There we go. Okay, so now I can do it this way. To list. I know I have a friend that would yell at me for using to list everywhere. Rodney dot to array is more performant. Member. Dot to list is not as performant as dot to array, Rodney. You should do better. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I should. I should do better, but I'm not. Looking, it needs to be the full namespace. Okay. Yes, yes. Yeah. You're telling me that this needs to be fully qualified. Sorry, I just saw that. Um. Oh. Oh, that's spicy. Where it's a static and a property symbol. Oh, is property symbol? Right, because I'm looking at this. That's a property symbol. Okay, so I should now, this thing should be telling me to, hey, rewrite this as, no, it's not gonna, okay, it doesn't, let's do this symbol, so it's static. Let's do this one first because this will weed out the majority of stuff. Let's get that. All right, so now I should be able to, so this should now just give me the property that I want. Oh, oh, you're telling me here when I get it from the compilation, it needs to be the full name. I think that would make sense because if there's two things that have a similar in the same namespace or even different cross namespaces, that would cause a problem. Okay, so yeah, I think yeah. Let me just change that real quick to the oh, this doesn't have a full name. Would the metadata name be the same? Okay, gets the name of a symbol as it appears in the metadata most of the times is the same as the name property with the following exceptions. Generic, yeah, we don't want generic. Not to minimal display string, to display string. Yeah, but if the type doesn't give me a full name. Oh, I've done this before where I have to explicitly generate it with the type. Like I have to get the type, parse it, and do stuff. I'm gonna do that later because that's just gonna be aggravating right now. And I'm coming up close to like quitting time, so I'm gonna see how much further I can get on this before I get frustrated and decide to go get something to eat. All right, so F5. So my member list gives me stuff dot default, which is the property symbol, which, if I'm not mistaken, is enough for me to get to where I want to be. Right, because now I can send this list. So if I change this here, no, it's not what I want. I want this for each to convert the whole thing. Yep, no, I want. Ugh. Of course it would do it that way. So I'm just gonna rewrite it. Var member list equals. Yeah, I know. We'll get there. This is gonna be. Okay, so I would have to do all constructor parameters dot select. Oh, dot tolit. What? Oh, it's an argument syntax. So dot. So it lets me do of type as parallel. It lets me perform enumerable options on it. So what is the? It's an immutable array. And this is my argument list. Okay, no, but that's fabricated. So okay, yeah, okay, here we go. So if I do dot to list dot cannot be inferred from the usage. It's an array, right? I'm gonna stop debugging because maybe the fact that I have the debugger attached is causing this to be smarter than me. No, so so I can do a to list there, but I can't do one here. That is, oh, I see why. Oh, that's weird. I don't like that. I'm gonna complain about that later. All right, and then I know that this is gonna create a closure, but I'm gonna create my closure and be happy with myself. Compilation dot. Come on, you can do it. Dot x dot type dot name parameter symbols. So okay, so that's gonna give me a list of all the parameter symbols, right? And then I want to explicitly, so that's my stuff. And then I'm going to get this set of stuff, and that's going to be my member list. Nope. Oh. Oh. Oh, okay. Yep, I'm smart. It's fine. This has to go to display string, I think returns the full namespace. Okay, I will try that in a minute. I thought it did, but I don't play with this stuff enough to be. And part of it is as a developer, you just got to dig in and be willing to break a couple of eggs. So, all right, so I'm being. Oh, this is weird. Okay, this is just. Okay. Fine. Everybody is smarter than me at the moment. So let's do that. Let's do dot to dot. Oh, yeah, because it can't figure this out. So in a mutable array, doesn't allow link. Type argument. Dot to. This is starting to get weird. Okay. So, okay, fine, whatever. So we'll do it this way then, and we'll just be mad at ourselves later. Dot to list. Dot select. We're actually gonna do dot to array. Dot select type. Dot to display string. I would think that would get me where I want to be. Possible never. Yep. Use conditional access. I'm going to do this real quick, and then I'm going to chop the entire line so I can see it perfectly. Okay. So now I should have my member list. So if I can get my member list here and send that in and get the actual thing, that'll be great. Yep, stuff.default. Here though, my member list has a single symbol. Stuff.default. So maybe, okay, so maybe let's just do this real quick. Introduce variable. Yeah, I know that's probably a bad thing, but I'll just check real quick to make sure that that's actually doing what we expect it to do. Is the nullable since that's a question I hadn't thought about, and I didn't know the immutable array was a struct. And because I don't have my decompiler, I can't dig into the source code, so I can't figure it out. So I told you, I got like one hand behind my back and two broken fingers, and this is how I have to write this source generator because I can't dig in anything. Sure. Come on, you can do it. Hit the. Nope, you didn't hit my breakpoint. That's spicy. It just didn't hit the breakpoint. Oh, I know why. because you have to expand a list and you have to expand an enumeration in order for it to actually do anything. Otherwise, it just sits there and idles because there's nothing paying attention to it. Oh man, the number of times I've sat there. There we go. All right. Oh, so the to display string does not give us the fully qualified type. There's a way to do it. I can figure that out later. I don't know that I remember. I think I've written a method that gets it for me, but I'm honestly like not remembering that well right now as to what it is. Um, I should be able to rewrite this whole bit as like pattern matching though, right? Negate expression. Nope. Okay, so I still have my member list. So the question is do I want to take this member list and convert it to a argument list syntax? I can do that, right? Like without too much of a hassle. I should be able to just do dot select argument syntax argument list and then pass in argument. Oh no, I can't do it that way. At least I don't think I can. Well, let's try it and see what happens first. But I don't think this is gonna work. I think I'm gonna run into a very interesting identifier name, and it's gonna be x dot. Is this a list of lists? Yep, that is. Oh, boo. So would this be select many? Yeah, okay. I'm going to continue to use, see, it has containing namespace and containing symbols. So I'm pretty sure I've written a thing that, a extension method that just gets it for me and formats it nicely. That should be name constructor has 0 arguments but invoked like it has some arguments. Do not use default value type constructor. Okay, I thought I just... Wait a minute, I thought I just... Oh, it's a different type. That's what it is. I'm smirt. Separated list. Separated list. Yes. What are we doing here? Separated list. Ooh. Yep, not new. There we go. There we go. Oh, man. Roslyn is hard. Okay. So now, let's change that to symbol real quick so that my OCD doesn't make this even more difficult than it already is. And now, see, like, and this is why unit tests are like very valuable, because you see, like, we're iterating over this hour and a half, and I've gotten like most of the way there. If I didn't have that, like, I'd spend more time figuring out how to test the thing than anything else. Okay, so my argument is default. I'm going to assume it is a proper thing. Argument default, name default. Oh, no, 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 no. We don't just want the symbol name. We need it to be expression. Okay, yeah. So it can't just be the symbol name, because like when I'm here, I stop this. I debug again, right? So the symbol name is not going to be enough because that's just going to be default. I need it to be the type plus the name, right? So again, to take that breakpoint out because we don't care about that right now. All right, so looking at the symbol, yeah. So I don't want it to be the symbol name. I probably can get away with the symbol metadata type, or I have to do type dot name because I feel like some of this stuff I've had to like generate myself. Yeah, because see, even the metadata name is just default. The original definition dot name maybe. Nope. Underlying symbol. So the property symbol has it the way I want it, but I think I'm going to end up, so for now, because I'm getting frustrated with all of this, we're just going to do some snazzy string interpolation here in a second. We're going to do, oop, that's the wrong symbol. We're going to do dot. No, it should just be symbol dot type, right? Containing type dot name dot. So let's debug this again and verify where we are. Okay. Okay, so the containing type is stuff and the name of that is stuff, so it's going to be stuff.default. So now when I hit my button here and I go to my member list and I go look at my member list, I should have stuff.default, which I can now send that member list, which is nothing more than an argument list syntax. Ha ha ha. I can send that in there. Oh wait, let's do this. Let's run it all the way through. Be smart about it, right? So we're going to run it all the way through and we're going to accept the source before we make the change to verify that the source after we've made the change is accurate. What are we doing here? Yeah, there's also some interesting issues with verify and rider. Like every once in a while I have to restart rider because it doesn't pick up the what verify knows about it. Like right now this thing is kind of bugging out on me, so I'm gonna rerun everything. All right, compare. Well, that's not the comparison bit that we want. All right, let's close all but pinned and let's do this again. Run that unit test and then let's create a new session from that unit test. So run that unit test in isolation. It fails. I'm going to do compare the received, so I will receive that, but something should have been generated though. Okay, what am I missing? Iterating, it's got a theory, it's got all the stuffs. Let me compare. Oh, it's two things, that's why. So yes, let's accept that. Verify that. And then this is the same thing we just did. If there were errors, we would see errors in here. But I'm not getting any generated source. Why am I not getting any generated? I was just getting generated source. Okay, what'd I break? I broke the thing, and this is where I'm like, oh, I should have slammed. I was just looking at this. Yeah, okay. That works. It gets here. Constructor bits. It does stuff with things. It does not look like it fails. And I have no idea what's going on. See, this is where I'm like, okay, sometimes verify bugs out, and okay, so let me kill all the unit test sessions. Let's go back here. Let's go ahead and create a new session. Let's just call this, rename this to defaults. Run all the defaults tests. And then once I get this work, like once I verify that this is actually working the way I expect it to, I'm gonna check in this code. I'm gonna go find something else to do with my brain for a couple of minutes. Okay, so I should compare. I don't understand because I feel like it should have some generated source at the end, right? It's not throwing any exceptions though, so that's a thing, I guess. Let's verify that it does all the generation. It's going to generate the default attribute, register, all this stuff. I am a little bit stumped. I know I can always get it to fail by just taking this out. That should be easy enough. Yeah, that's exactly what we're going to do. I'm just going to send in null there. And then we're going to run this again, and this should fail. I should see some source. Some generated C# source. Repeat previous run. I don't want to repeat the previous run. I don't want to append the test. I want to rerun all tests. Okay. Here we go. All right. So they're not equal. So now let's compare. Here we go. All right. All right. All right. All right. So it's broken because it's already expecting the thing to have stuff.default. Maybe I accidentally accepted that source earlier and I just didn't realize it. That's fine. So now that means that if I take that out and I stick this in, this ends up being just a what now? Okay, it's a list of argument syntax lists. Got it. So what I need to do instead of doing this is just take this out, remove that. Let's just fix that. Let's go to the end and cut that. Yep. And now I should be able to do that. And then pass in member list. Okay. Now we're happy. So now I have an argument syntax list. I don't remove the redundant type argument. I've got all the stuffs that I should have, and if I rerun this, it's gonna green light, right? Because we just watched the fact that it generates that source correctly. So this is hey, it's gonna green light. So that means that it's generating the correct source now. And while I do have this hard coded down here, this is still hard coded, huh? Where am I using this? Yeah, because we're gonna get rid of that hard coded bit here in a minute. Okay, that's where I'm generating the constructor arguments. I'm not actually doing that anymore. Now I'm using this to generate the constructor arguments. So what do I want to pass in? Oh. I can just pass in the constructor here. Change the type. Oh, wait, no. What did I do wrong? Change the type of the parameter to be no, let's just do that first there. And now I can change it to be iMethod symbol question mark. Yep, that's fine. I'm going to copy all of the stuff. I'm going to go all the way back down to the bottom here, where this is now my constructor, I think. And I'm going to return, I think it ends up being var member list equals constructor dot parameters. Ooh, that means I have to pass in the compilation too. Compilation. Okay. That that now works. That's unexpected. Here we'll pass the member list. Here. I know I'm gonna clean this code up later. No, this is gonna be nullable. Now I should have an exception up here. So I send in the first. I send in the compilation. Oh, here we go. Yep. So now I have my constructor arguments, which is my argument list syntax. And now I can go back here and change this. All right. So now, as long as my test passes again, I'm not going to kick myself for not using Git. Ha! Okay. Test pass. So what have we done? Let's recap. What have we actually accomplished today? Okay, so we are now, if I go back to my example, we are now, or no, let's actually go to the test data so that we can look at it in the way that it's actually generating it. So now we have stuff. Stuff has a default. Default is new stuff. Thing has no default when we send it into the source generation. And now we are able to use stuff.default. Yeah, okay. We're able to use stuff.default to pass in the default to this constructor and generate a default for thing. So all of that is now happening. What we did not accomplish is if stuff doesn't have a default, then it also needs this default attribute and we should be doing something with it. So technically, we need to find a way to make that happen, but that's a tomorrow problem. We've at least got the simple case where we've already got a default generated for the reference type that we want. We are using that reference type as a constructor parameter into another reference type, and we're able to ensure that that value gets generated effectively. So I think I'm at a good place right now with what we've accomplished today in an hour and 39 minutes. So this gets me further down the road. I think next time, if I work on this live next time, what I'm going to try and tackle is forcing this to have a defaults attribute, either through some static analysis diagnostic that gets reported to the user and a code fix provider, or just fix the source for you because I'm cool and I can do stuff like that. I don't know what the right answer is, but whatever answer we choose, we're going to try and implement that next time. And I think the diagnostic is probably the quote unquote easier way of doing it but it's more clicks. And if I already know how to do it and I'm already doing source generation, should I do it? Don't know. But then that kind of gets into the whole recursive function thing, which I'm not a fan of recursion. So, at a certain point, this thing could just run indefinitely through an entire domain or an entire assembly trying to generate defaults for everything all the way down an inheritance or all the way down an object graph. And that might be bad from a performance perspective, but I don't know. So At this point, I think I'm happy with the work that I've accomplished today. And thank you both, Shahab and Flash Aware, for coming in and helping me not be bad at source generation, because clearly source generation is like the wild west of C sharp these days, and it's it's easy enough to do, but it's easier still to make really interesting mistakes, given the fact that my day job, I deliver business value, so I solve business problems, and I don't look at the domain of a compiler every day. So when I'm looking at these things, I have to shut off my value add brain and turn on my compilation brain and have to look at how a C sharp file is actualized by the compiler, which is a mental task for me. So thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. I will see you next time.